listening to Mornings on ABC Classic FM with Martin Buzzacott.
It's 9:45 here on ABC Classic FM. One of the biggest tours of the year coming up in July, the Australian debut of one of the world's great tenors, Roberto Alagna. He'll be performing in Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane in July. Roberto Alagna really is a name to conjure with in the world of opera. Just spent 3 months in residence at the Met in New York. He's sung in all the great opera houses of the world. He's sold literally millions of CDs. But Roberto Alagna's story, it's a real rags to riches one. He was born in a garage, literally, in Clichy-sous-Bois, on the outskirts of Paris, one of the most underprivileged and socially troubled districts in France. And his family, they were Sicilian immigrants, and he began his career not in opera, but in Parisian cabaret. He was singing cabaret at night for 6 hours and then studying opera during the day. But I'll leave it to Roberto to do the explaining on a terrible phone line from London.
La donna è nobile, qual piuma al vento, muto d'accento e di pensiero, sempre una nobile, leggiadro viso, in pianto il viso e menzognero. La donna è nobile, qual piuma al vento, muto d'accento pensier e di pensier
When I was a child, I was very, very shy. And I had no ambition, because in fact, I thought in that time, we were just poor and modest, and for me, I thought in that time everything was impossible. But I had this passion in my heart. And I remember when my mom asked me, "You sure you want to become an opera singer?" I said, "No, I would like to sing in a choir." It was my biggest ambition. And after that, I received a lot, without asking anything. And I was very, very lucky because I received more than I expect.
Roberto, you wanted to sing in the choir, but you ended up singing cabaret, French cabaret.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Why? Because in fact, in my family, everybody sang, and from the side of my mom, everybody sang opera. But by the side of my father, everybody sang traditional songs. And because I was very young, I started singing this kind of songs, not opera, but opera was my secret. But I started to sing with friends. But after that, I sang for the first time when I was 14 in the pizzeria for 2 years. I sang during the weekend. And soon after 16, I started in cabaret. I became professional in that time. And I sang with stage, with musicians. And also during the afternoon, I started to study when I was 17. I started to study opera. And I sang my first opera when I was 20 years old. And it was like this, it was something natural for me because I had this in my blood.
Una furtiva lagrima negli occhi suoi spuntò. Quelle festose giovani invidiar sembrò.
cabaret, every night you have a different nationality of tourists. And you must know almost one song of each country. And I remember I sang in Arabic, I sang in Hebrew, I sang in English, but Spanish, a lot of languages, you know. And it was very important for me to learn and to have the concentration, to have the large repertoire, to be able to catch the attention very, very fast. You know, it's not easy when people are dining or are there for, you know, to spend their night. It's not easy, the audience of night, you know, nightclubs or this kind of cabaret. It's not easy. But I think for me it was a wonderful school, and I had a lot of resistance for my training voice after that, and I used that also for on opera.
Sciuri, sciuri, sciuri di tutto l'anno, l'amore cambierà se ti lo torno. Sciuri, sciuri, sciuri di tutto l'anno, l'amore cambierà se ti lo torno. La 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 la. Lo sabato si sa allegra cori.
I sang 8 years in cabaret, 8 years every night from midnight till 6 o'clock in the morning. And during the day, I slept in that time just 3 hours. And during the day, I studied opera for 2 hours. And for 8 years, I jumped in the afternoon operatic emission of The Voice, and during the night, popular songs. And nobody was able to say you can sing both, because I was a different artist during the day and during the night. I was like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, you know. And but it was very, very powerful to do that, because my voice started to become very, very flexible. And it was very good because I use, you know, the swing of the popular songs, also in opera. And I use also the discipline and the technique of bel canto in the popular songs. And I think, in fact, it was very positive for me to become a tenor.
Ferimi invaghi quell'angelica
Oh, those soft chords at the end always trick me. That was Roberto Alagna singing Mapari from the opera Marta by Flotto. And that's from his latest album, Robertissimo. And before that, Roberto himself speaking on his mobile phone from London about his early career in cabaret. Imagine that, singing for 6 hours a night from midnight to 6 a.m. in cabaret, and then studying opera during the day, just sleeping 3 hours a day. And he did that for 8 years. And as you heard through the terrible distortion on the phone line, Roberto Alagna, one of the loveliest men in opera, of course, one of the most acclaimed musically as well. And Roberto Alagna's Australian tour dates: Sydney on the 21st of July, Melbourne on the 27th of July, and Brisbane on the 30th of July. I reckon that's going to sell out. And by the way, if you know Paris at all, you'll be well aware of just what a remarkable journey it's been for Roberto Alagna, from the mean streets of Clichy-sous-Bois to the elite opera houses of the world.